You guys, Thanksgiving is coming up. We will be together with friends and family, most of us, not all of us. And I just want to remind you of something that as adults, you get to choose who you spend time with. When you were a child, you had to put up with and obey your family, however neglectful, rageful they were, however dysfunctional they were. And because you're very smart, you, and that's what all children do, develop adaptive strategies to deal with our dysfunctional homes. I believe all homes are dysfunctional to some degree, unless you're like a Jesus figure or something, there's going to be some amount of dysfunction because people are not perfect and our relationships are not perfect. So what children do, they learn to adapt. They learn to try to get attention by being very good, chasing love, pursuing love, or by walling themselves off, or by trying to be the perfect child or the funny child, or to withhold their emotions, or to be people pleasers, or to be passive aggressive or angry or whatever. To become the bully. Maybe your dad was a bully and now you're a bully, or your husband is a bully because his dad was a bully, or whatever the patterns are. Children adapt. We're very smart. The only issue is that these adaptive patterns, they come out in adulthood, especially when people are triggered, especially in their intimate sexual relationships, but it can come out in friendships too when people are triggered. And unless someone has done some work on themselves and gone to therapy, done inner child work, they are still going to be acting a lot from those adaptive places rather than from their functional adult selves. And you, as an adult, get to decide who you want to be friends with based on how they live their lives and how they treat you in relationships, including your family. You do not owe anyone, in my opinion, you do not owe anyone a relationship or a friendship. You do not owe anyone anything. In my opinion, the only people we're responsible for are our children under the age of 18. We're responsible for loving and guiding our children, teaching them responsibility and freedom, teaching them to be functional in the world. And I also have an obligation to the relationships I'm in to treat them with love and care and to nurture them. I do feel that obligation. And if there's something bothering me, that I speak up and that I come from a functional, healthy place. I see that I have an orientation toward the relationship, not just what I want, but also thinking about my friend, what might be going on with them, and honoring that relationship. So that's something that's important to me. However, not all people feel that way. A lot of people have never thought about this, or they're just about their self-empowerment, or they're acting from their wounds. They don't want to look at their own stuff. And I can't be friends with people like that. And I've actually had like a little turnover in my friends in the last week. Quite a few, actually. Has kind of like been a week for that. And so I want to share that with you, and that's okay. That's okay that I let people go who I think are dysfunctional, and it's okay for people to let me go. The person who ended the friendship with me, I think she felt that I think she could feel how judgmental I was of her, because the last time we got together, I made a bunch of comments about it, because I'm kind of getting to the place now in my life where I'm comfortable finally challenging people by holding up a mirror. And that's something I really struggled with, especially in my coaching, is I was noticing that I had difficulty challenging people, that I was just being too nice. And what I've learned in this relational RLT, Relational Life Therapy course with Terry Wheel, is that the first thing we have to do with the client is figure out their stance, their pattern, and join them in the truth. So it has to be done lovingly and holding up a mirror and showing them their pattern. I'm not so good at the lovingly part. I kind of just blurt it out. So I have some work to do. But with this particular friend, and with all my friends really, I've been holding up the mirror lately. And I love that because it leaves me completely detached from the outcome. It gets me to say what I see. And usually I do it lovingly, but not always. I'm still working on how to do it better. The way to do it better is to be detached. But anyway, with this particular friend, I had made several comments that night when we had dinner. And I think it was just a lot for her because the next day she texted me and thanked me for many years of friendship, how much she's enjoyed getting to know me, and that she will not be contacting me anymore. And I replied and said, hey, I had just been getting ready to text her to thank her for the dinner the night before. And I let her know that. And I said, I'm taking it as you feel like this friendship is no longer serving you. And she said, yes, thank you. And that was it. So, and that's good because this friend and I didn't share values, especially when it comes to sleeping with men. She has no problem sleeping around with married men or men in relationships and hooking up with them, and has done it for many years. And that's something I always struggled with. And also, we didn't have much in common in terms of how we like to eat or the places we like to go, or whatever. I think that she just felt inferior to me. And honestly, I did look down on her for a lot of things about how she lived her life, not just with the men, but in terms of fitness and eating and her children and stuff like that. So I should have ended that friendship when I started being so judgmental, because I'm not judgmental with my other friends. I just enjoy them for who they're being. But with her, I had always been so judgmental. And so I think it was good for her to end that friendship with me, because she deserves to be around people who love her and not people who judge her. So I can't say, I just felt bad when I read her text though, like I must have really hurt her. Um, and I probably did. So I learned from that to only make friendships with women that I respect and look up to. And that's a change I've been making in my life lately too, is that I used to have friends that were like financially way beneath me, like helpless. These really sweet women, just like my mom, who were financially helpless and disempowered. Like I had a friend who was in her late 40s, still living with her mom. She had all these excuses for why she couldn't work, but she was so sweet. And she's the one that introduced me to that other friend who went off on me in the limo that I had to block. She was like toxic. Also very sweet, very sweet, very sweet. I met her twice and then I invited her to my party, and oh my God. So sometimes it takes a while to get to know people. Some people can come across as very sweet, and some of these women can turn very toxic, by the way. Very toxic, controlling, critical, rageful. That isn't my thing. My pattern, I'm not a rager. Like, I can't be around ragers. I like things very zen, and I will speak up. So my negative pattern would be to shut down and be like, who needs you anyway? Or to pursue. So my pursuit of men usually will last like a week and then I'm just done with them. So I'm not like super bad, but I tend to be more of the quiet pursuer, or had been in the past, not the rager. Um, I don't like ragers. That to me is like a deal breaker. Like, don't come with me at your rage. But that woman in the limo, when she was raging at me, I was very surprised because she was looking at me and yelling at me and calling me a bitch and all that. And I was just like, not even triggered, which surprised me. I was just like very calm. I think because I knew she wasn't trying to hit me. She was just so angry and made no sense about the Turkish music she wanted to listen to. And the driver was just trying to calm her down. But I recorded it. I could listen to it later and send it to her and be like, I don't want to be friends anymore. Listen to how you talk to me. This is over. But I was very calm because I don't like to engage in that kind of drama. But if there was someone who liked that kind of drama, they couldn't be in my life. But the unavailable ones I did. Anyway, I'm digressing now. The point is that when it comes to friendships, we get to choose what kind of friends we want. You get to choose for your friendships. Do you want people who are financially self-supporting, or do you want people who still live at home in their 40s? Do you want people who are happy with their lives, or people who are constantly complaining about something? Do you want people who value their fitness, their health, how they eat, or do you want people who don't, who are overweight and eat junk food? Do you like people who get up early in the morning, or people who like to stay out late at night? Do you want to be friends with people who like being out in nature, or people who like to go out drinking? And sometimes it's fun just to have those friends to go out drinking with. But I had a friend that I had a lot of fun drinking with. I would have her come over and we would drink and it'd be fun. But then the other parts of her life that were not working were really starting to bother me. And I did end that friendship too, because she didn't have a job. She was complaining about her friends and her family. She was running off to festivals all the time, and she didn't have a job and her phone wasn't working. And when I told her I couldn't spend 5 nights a week with her, she started backing off and playing games and being hostile. Like, I don't want that. I have enough friends who are healthy that I can spend time with. So like weeding through these women has been like interesting for me. I had a situation with my sister. So I'm going to have to back off from her a little bit. Here's the bottom line, you guys. The more trauma someone had in their life, the less good of a friend they're going to be. The more trauma they had, the more wounded they're going to be, the more reactive they're going to be, the less healthy they're going to be in their life and in their relationships, unless they've done work on themselves. So, yeah. And the people that I'm friends with that have had hard childhoods have done work on themselves. But again, more remains to be discovered. I don't discard my friends over one thing, but I'm only available to be friends with people who are working on things, and if we have a disagreement, that they repair, and whose life I admire. I will not be friends with people who are in active addiction, who sleep around with men in relationships, or who ignore their children, or who don't want to provide for themselves, or whatever. I'm looking for like people who are empowered and happy with their lives. Does that mean I will abandon them if they get sick or something? No, it doesn't. But I'm not here to collect wounded women. And I have had a history of being friends with wounded women. And I'm not available for that anymore. Now I'm friends with powerful women, empowered women that I look up to. So those are my criteria. I have to look up to you, and I have to be able to learn from you, because my pattern was they were learning from me and they were leaning on me. I had more money, I had more knowledge, I had more comfort to give. And, I had to disentangle myself from that, see the pattern and disentangle myself. So anyway, as you're going towards the holidays and deciding which invitations you want to accept and who you want to invite, I just want to let you know that as an adult, you get to choose who's in your life. You are no longer a little child that is beholden or captive in a home. Children are captive. They can't leave. You had to live with your dysfunctional family and get used to their patterns, but now you're an adult. You do not have to put up with anyone. And if your children aren't treating you well, you got to take some parenting classes. As an adult, you have the right to harmonious relationships with everyone. And if they're not harmonious and uplifting, you do not have to be in them. That's what I want to make this video about. As adults, we get to choose. We do not have an obligation to anyone, not to our parents, not to our family members. and not even to our adult children. That's my opinion. You can disagree. That's how I'm living my life. Because if you're healthy, if you're a family member who's healthy and not in some kind of reactivity or addiction or unhealthy behavior, we will get along. The problem is with the people who refuse to do work on themselves, who are coming from trauma. And I'm not going to hold space for that. Live out your trauma somewhere else, okay? I'm good right here in my Zen, peaceful space. And there are enough healthy people out there, and I don't need the whole world to be friends with me. I just need a few healthy friends, and I'm good. And thank God for my kids who are healthy people. So I will always have them. And I will always have me, and I will never leave me. I'm always here for myself. Thank you for watching my video.